Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Sensible from Sensible Prince, and today we're going to be making the Pot of Greed. So I really enjoy painting and printing models. I think there's something great about waiting, and painting and printing forces you to wait. You don't just get that immediate gratification, and I think in our lives today, we get everything we want as soon as we want it, and it makes it more difficult to live, in my opinion. And I thought that the Pot of Greed would be a great first model for this channel, because I think in society we've gotten very greedy. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Pot of Greed is a card in a game called Yu-Gi-Oh! And it lets you draw 2 new cards. Many people make jokes about this, make memes about this, but I've always been interested in why this card was so powerful and eventually banned from the game. It doesn't do anything particularly clever. It just gives you more than you were supposed to get. And I think at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants, is to get more than they're supposed to get. We're all fighting for resources, limited resources, on this spinning rock in space, and everyone wants more. They want more than they had yesterday, and then when they get it, they want more than today. And I think that's important for some people, and I think it's important to have goals and to try. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want more in your life. I think everyone deserves more in their life, but it's the constant desire to have more in your life that I'm talking about. Greed isn't dramatic. It doesn't look like a villain. Most of the time, I think greed just looks like optimization or efficiency. You're so greedy to get as much as you can out of an experience that you forget to experience it, and you lost your joy in the process. I've always thought that experiences can just be experiences, and you don't have to make them a certain way. But I think a lot of people feel like their experiences are invalid unless they happen in a certain pattern that they've set up in their head for whatever reason. I think greed is that little voice in your head that says, why stop here? Why not improve a little bit more? What else can I squeeze out of this? And I think that's why I like Pot of Greed so much, because it doesn't try and hide what it is. There's no trade-off. There's no explanation. It's just more. You just get more. And I think it's a bit funny. I keep thinking about how Pot of Greed is like a very accurate analogy for society today. But in the game, the card got banned. Not because it did any sort of crazy effect. It just removed your ability to make decisions because it was too efficient, and it made the game less interesting. And I think if you do that in life, if you make your life too efficient, it stops being interesting. In the professional scene, I don't even know what you would call a professional Yu-Gi-Oh player, but in the competitive scene, I guess, everyone ran this card. It made the games go faster, and the creativity of people's decks that they would make got flatter. And I find it strange how systems that we exist in and experience can often break, not from any sort of malice or ill intention, but just from optimization, from being greedy. I think efficiency is a gift and a curse that we've created as humans, because on the one hand, efficiency lets us experience so many more things, take ideas so much farther, but you also miss the mundane, you miss the experience of just being. Because that's what we are. We're human beings. And I think we don't let ourselves just be anymore. When I was younger, there wasn't a lot of things to do sometimes, so I would just sit around and think. And I'm glad I did, because I still do to this day, but I think a lot of people have forgotten or never learned how to do that. And I think that's what I love about painting, because painting is the opposite of greed. You can't make it more efficient. You can't rush how fast the paint dries. You can't automate brush strokes. You can't really scale it, and for most people it's not profitable, right? So when you paint something, whether it's a model or on a canvas or on a wall or anything really, you are taking a moment to just be. And I really wish more people would do that in life. It's not a competition, you know, there's no winning at painting. There's no perfect efficient output. You're never gonna have a perfect painting. There's always gonna be something more you can add, but that's okay, and you can just sit with that. Painting forces you to sit with just enough, and sometimes just enough is exactly what you need. When you paint, you don't have to go fast. You don't have to feel rushed. And I love painting because of that. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel the sense of urgency that I feel in any other aspect of my life. You know, if I'm playing a video game, I need to get to the next level. If I'm eating, I gotta finish this meal so I can go do something else. If I'm watching a TV show, I want to finish this episode so I can watch the next episode. But with painting, I don't feel any of that. I just have attention. I'm just looking at something and just slowly adding color, slowly adding highlights. And during this time, I can just think about life, think about my day, think about my future and my past, and really kind of get a sense of who I am as a person and where I fit in this world with everyone else. And sometimes I feel like I don't fit, and that's okay. It's okay to not fit. I've lived parts of my life where I fit in very well, and I've lived parts of my life where I did not fit in very well. And if you're living in a place right now where you feel like you don't fit in, that's okay, because it will pass. And eventually you will find your people and you will fit in. And if you're doing some art alongside me right now, don't feel discouraged if things are happening faster on the screen, because it is sped up, which is ironic given our conversation today, but otherwise this would be an hour-long video, and even the most patient of us are probably not going to listen to a man ramble as he watches paint dry. You know, I love the expression on this pot of greed because it doesn't look evil. It looks happy. And I think greed rarely looks dangerous at first. I think it looks like excitement. It feels like momentum. You don't notice the cost right away. You just feel like you're winning. And that's intoxicating. When you feel like you're winning, it's very easy to just double down. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge the irony in all of this, because I'm making YouTube content while talking about greed. So, in a way, I'm trying to monetize a hobby. And I think that is, by definition, greedy. So, it's not something that's gonna go away. You can't just snap your fingers and turn your greed off. But I think there's value in just acknowledging it's there. And when you paint, it doesn't matter how productive you are. The painting doesn't care if it performs well. So even if I have no success on YouTube, I can be happy knowing that I spent this time thinking while I painted, and that's enough. It doesn't matter what happens after this, because I made something, and I thought, and I used my head and my heart. But maybe greed isn't about wanting too much. Maybe it's just about skipping the part where you ask why you wanted so much in the first place. A pot of greed is dangerous because it gives you more without asking you to think. And I think that's where a lot of people get trapped in life, is they get into this cycle of wanting more but not knowing why or what it is that they want. And it just makes them feel more inadequate and smaller, and that makes them want more to compensate for that inadequacy. And I think people need to really stop and contemplate what it is they want out of life. I've done the same thing. I've stopped and really took some time to think about what I want. And what I want is going to be obviously completely different from what you want. But I think it's important for you to really figure out what it is that you want out of life. And if that's something like working a 9-to-5 job where you get promotions and make big money and get that corner office, that's okay. But if you're only wanting to have a roof over your head, some food to eat, and the freedom to create what you want to create when you want to create it, that's okay too. There are lots of ways to live this world, and I can't say that my way is the best way, but I can say that it's a way, and it's worth trying. What if tomorrow you just decided to stop chasing your dreams and instead to just follow opportunities that arise? And you might have to leave your comfort zone for those opportunities, but are you comfortable now? Is the thought of wanting more niggling in your ear? Is the thought that you're doing the wrong thing in your life something that you think about? Because if that's the case, it's not going to get better. It's not like next year you're going to wake up and be like, oh wow, I'm glad I just put up with this for a year. Because if you're not happy now, then anything in the future, even if it leads to happiness, is going to be a compromise. And you only get so many opportunities to compromise in life. So, in my opinion, it's important to make sure you're compromising on the right things. And your happiness and your joy should never be something you compromise. So where exactly does that leave us? I think you need to search for that joy in your life, and that joy might be something very small, like painting. It might be something larger, that involves more effort. But don't focus on the end result. Focus on the process. Focus on the next step, because after you do that enough times, you're gonna look up from the ground and realize that you've come so far from where you started, and it won't feel like you put in all that much work at all, because you only looked at each little step. And I think I've decided that I don't think greed is inherently evil. I think it's just unbalanced. And I think that every game needs rules, even real life. And sometimes in life, things are gonna get dirty. And there may be moments where you think that you're ruined. Your life is ruined, your creations are ruined, but you've caused irrevocable damage. But when you slow down and start to peel back the layers piece by piece, start to take away the dirt, grit by grit, you'll see that things are not as hopeless as they appear to be. And I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I feel so down and I feel like there's no way out. And that's okay, because the next day I might not feel that way.